Welcome to PHP Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we're here for another Monday mini-sode.
Yeah, Monday mini. Hopefully this one actually drops on Monday. Our last Monday mini turned out to be a Tuesday mini-sode, which, surprise. Like things happen, but hopefully this one is on a Monday. Either way, it's a mini-sode. And we like our mini-sodes because we get to kind of distill the information instead of having a long form hour plus podcast where we're talking about a lot of different things. We're going to focus in on one category. So if you found this video because you're looking for a specific thing, or if you're a longtime listener of PHP Podcast and you watch our stuff, these are a great way for us to kind of focus in, hone in on one specific topic. And today we're going to be talking about the benefits, especially with eBay, but it works for Amazon too and other selling platforms, of having a larger inventory. Now, there's a couple different ways that people like to resell. In fact, we've had some people on as guests to the podcast, and their specific model of reselling is to basically sell all their inventory within a month of getting it. And so they run a much leaner store. They maybe have fewer items listed, and they list it at prices that are going to sell. And they go for that kind of that quick nickel, mentality there. And that's a very effective way of doing it. But there are a lot of benefits to allowing your store to build up, to having your prices set so that, you're maybe looking for that slow dime. You're hoping to get top dollars for things. And so over time, your store is going to build and build and build. And there are benefits to that. And today we're going to be talking about some of those benefits and why it's a good idea to have a larger inventory.
And so I got a lot to say. That's the hard part about this episode. It's supposed to be 10 minutes. So we're going to cut it down to 10. I promise.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
So we all know Orlando. He can talk.
All right. So the first thing is, if you want consistent sales, the easiest way to get consistent sales outside of just consistently picking up hot items is to have a lot of items, right? Because we've shared this before. Like you go into a store and you're looking for one item. If that store only has like 5 or 10 items, I'm talking about a brick and mortar, chances that you're going to find what you're looking for are pretty slim, right? But if they have a very robust store with a bunch of shelves with goods in them, you're going to find what you're looking for. Right. And it's the same thing with eBay, right? The more items you have, the more sellers are going to be looking for items, the more chances that you're going to have a sale on a consistent basis. I would say
it's a numbers game.
It is a numbers game. I mean, for myself, I did not get consistent sales probably until I got around 500 to 700 items. And once that happened, I started getting consistent daily sales. Doesn't mean that every single day I got a sale once I got to that number, but it was pretty consistent. And then once I got to the 1,000, the 2,000, almost reaching 3,000, then I was able to get to full-time reselling. And I really believe that having a larger inventory allowed me to do that because, hey, you have a plethora of items. Chances are, like you said, it's a number game that somebody's going to come by and pick up your item.
Yeah. And I mean, we use that analogy of a store, but like we talk a lot on the podcast of garage sales, and we talk about going to, swap meets and those types of things. And imagine you go to a garage sale and there's one baseball hat. And I've been to garage sales like this on a table. I've been to garage sales where there's like 5 or 6 items on a table, and I've actually been lucky enough to find profitable things. But if somebody set out a table and they put one baseball hat on it and you walk up and you're like, well, nope, that's not what I'm looking for. The price isn't, that's not a profitable item. We love to go to garage sales where it's like not just the driveway, but it's also like their lawn, and it's coming out, and there's just so much stuff. You can dig through boxes. Because the chance of you finding things is higher. And it's the same thing with the eBay store. You're just playing a numbers game, and having those items in your store, it's just going to mean more likelihood that somebody's going to be buying something. And ultimately that's what we're looking for. And so you can actually charge a little bit higher, knowing that you might be waiting for that right customer to come along. But if you've got 1,000 items, 2,000 items, chances are one of those things, that right buyer is coming around and paying that top dollar for it.
Agreed. Now, the other benefit too is you can get a lot of bundle sales, meaning that, people will come in, and I'm not talking about just Poshmark where, people bundle a lot. I'm talking about eBay. Right. You can have a following. You have a lot of repeat buyers that, for example, I sell a lot of Harley Davidson stuff and a lot of Hawaiian shirts. And so I have a lot of buyers that, they follow my store, and some of you do too. And as soon as, I list some items that I got from a recent haul, there's like, hey, Orlando. And usually I'm able to tell if it's a repeat buyer. I wish eBay did a thing. Like if somebody messages you that like you get a little star and it says repeat buyer or something, right? That'd be nice.
Yeah, transaction history, like just right next to their name
or something, you know. Anyways, and so they'll contact me and like, hey, I'd like to, pick up 3 of your shirts. Can we work out a deal? And I get that probably on the weekly. I get somebody that contacts me or, just a random person that sends a bunch of random offers on a bunch of my items. But it's because I have a larger inventory, right? And so I'm able to make those deals. I'm able to actually, sell things for a little bit less because since I have a larger inventory, I'm not saying, hey, I need to make this number today based on my limited inventory. I have enough inventory that I'm like, you know what? If I make a little bit of a deal here, it's okay because I'll have some other sales throughout the day. So it really helps you be able to bundle things.
Yeah. And I don't sell on Poshmark as much as I used to. It's only occasionally now that I'm getting Poshmark sales because I don't deal with the sharing and all of that anymore. However, when I first did, I did a Macy's box a while back, and the cost per item, I think was like $3 or something like that, somewhere around there per item. Well, the nice thing with that is I got over 100 items in one big lump sum, right? I just got a bunch of things. So I listed them all on eBay, listed them all on Poshmark. And the nice thing with having those on Poshmark is they almost became like loss leaders, where I could use them. I could throw them in a bundle where I know I'm going to make a bunch of money on this Lululemon jacket that somebody wants. But if it works to make the deal, I'll throw in 2 of those $3 to $5 Macy box items and only charge them basically what it costs. But to them, they're getting 3 things for this price now instead of just the one Lulu sweater. So you end up doing pretty good with things like that when you can have and I wouldn't recommend having a bunch of loss leaders on eBay, hoping to get bundles, because you're going to end up selling those things as one-offs and it's not going to be worth it. But it is a potential strategy if you're using a platform, or even on eBay, you could potentially list items as a bundle. And the more items you have, you can do that type of thing. So instead of just, 1 GameCube, it's maybe 3 GameCubes. If you've got a big enough inventory, maybe they're all for parts, but sometimes you're going to do better lotting them together because someone might think, hey, if I can get 3 of them, chances are between the 3, I can get 1 of them working. So
agreed.
You can definitely bundle things together, even on your own in a listing, if you've got more items. Hey, I've already got one of these. It's been sitting for a while. What if I created a separate listing and I bundled these 2 things together?
All right. Now, the other thing you could also do along with that, since you have such a larger inventory, is you can discount a lot of your items. And the reason being is when you have a limited amount of inventory, right? You're like, oh, I really got to sell all these at this price. And like you said before, you can just throw some stuff in there. So if it's a slow day, if I'm not making sales, it doesn't bother me to discount a few items, make those sales on eBay, trigger that algorithm and keep the sales flowing because, hey, I have a large enough inventory. I'm not going to run out of inventory. And some of the stuff, since you have a large inventory, probably has been sitting for a while too. And so you're able to make those deals. You're able to run those sales. You're able to use those coupons. There's so many more advantages with having a larger inventory and able to make those deals because you're just not dependent on just a small number of items that you have. You have so much that, hey, it's only going to make a small dent if you make a few deals here and there. And so it's definitely worth it to have that larger inventory.
Yeah. And then also you have the ability to go on vacation when you've got a large inventory, to take that time off, to say, hey, I'm going to be this item in eBay's new vacation mode. In fact, we were corrected on that on our last live, I think, which is great. That's
not bad.
That's what we learned through other people. But we used to just go we'd extend our shipping time, right? So our shipping and handling time would go from same day or next day to maybe 5 days if we were going to be gone for a while. Now you can put a vacation mode and know when you're going to be back. And so one of the nice things when you have a big inventory like that, you can still count on things selling. Right. If you've only got a handful of things, it's harder to take, time away because, I need this thing to sell. And if this thing doesn't sell, if my shipping time is longer on this, so your sales might dip a little if your handling time essentially is longer. However, when you got enough items, you're still going to be able to make some sales. And then we've talked in the past that it's really not passive income because you're going to get home from vacation and you're going to have a lot of shipping to do. However, if you've got enough items, chances are you're going to be able to find not just the right buyer, but the right buyer who's willing to wait an extra couple of days because you've got the right pictures, you've got the right price, you've got the right item, whatever it is, and you're going to still be able to make those sales. So it's really, really beneficial. And I'll tell you what, as trying to sell a big thing right now, because we've talked to people in the past too, who've sold and their method is maybe they only have 4 or 5 items in their store, but they're big items, thousands of dollars per item, right? That is definitely a way to sell. You can make a lot of money doing it that way. However, the do or die, feast or famine almost feels like it could be more, right? Like the margin of error is less. And I know that now trying to sell an item, our fifth wheel that we're trying to sell for a bunch of money, having one big thing trying to sell, there's a lot of stress of, is it going to sell this month? If it sells this month, feast. If it doesn't sell this month, famine, right? So the nice thing with having 500, 1,000, whatever items is you got enough bread and butter coming in that you may not ever get to the extreme level of feast, but you shouldn't reach that famine level. So you're in that nice middle ground.
Agreed. And tied into that in our last point here is having a larger inventory will eventually give the option of going full-time, right? There's no way I could have gone full-time 4 or 5 years ago had I not built up my eBay store. I only had 1,200 items at that time. When I went full-time, it's kind of crazy. I don't know if I'd go full-time with 1,200 again, but I had enough inventory where I was making consistent sales. And I knew if I had to jump ship and just go full-time reselling, I'd be fine because I didn't have to like go out of nowhere and start hustling every day and find the items. I already had a large enough inventory that if I had to fall back on it, the option was there. And luckily, things worked out and it was the right time for me to move on. And I went to full-time reselling and I already had that inventory. So I was just able to just go from, my career at the time of education to just being a full-time reseller. And it made it really easy to move forward. And so hopefully these ideas give you the reasons why it's beneficial to have a larger inventory. Again, there's various models, but that's the model that works for us. And hopefully it works for you. And with that being said, make sure to be real,
Be relevant,
and be reselling late.
Peace.